of global governance and consolidated position of the developing countries. Globalization and technological progress contribute to the increased independence of the nations as well. The unipolar model is not only unacceptable but also unrealizable in today's world. There would not be sufficient military, political, and economic resources if there was a leadership of a single state. Nonetheless, what is happening in today's world is an attempt to introduce precisely this concept to the international affairs, the concept of this unipolar world. However, past recipes for global governments overcoming conflicts as well as natural contradictions are no longer applicable. They fail, and new approaches are needed to be worked out. Relatively new threats, of course these threats were known before, but they appeared now in its more stronger shape, so to speak. And modern threats such as international terrorism, illegal drug trafficking, organized crime, piracy. That's a very interesting phenomenon, piracy, you know. One have never heard about it for centuries, and now it is revived. What is happening? Natural and anthropogenic disasters have taken on a global character. In addressing them, we must proceed by searching for reasonable balance between the interests of all participants in the international dialogue, especially since the international landscape is so varied and changes so quickly in light of the dynamic development in a whole number of countries and regions. The international community needs to respond to global challenges and threats in an adequate and comprehensive manner and combine efforts under the coordinating role of the United Nations, building on a shared recognition that security, sustainable development, and human rights are interlinked and interdependent quite closely. That is why we think it is necessary to develop mutually beneficial cooperation among all states of the world for the sake of preserving international peace and security. And Russia, as one of the largest global economies, one of the leading countries in science and technology, a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, a member of G20, BRICS, SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States, CSTO, Collective Security Treaty Organization, as well as observer state of Organization of Islamic Cooperation and a close partner of ASEAN, is ready to play its constructive role in developing more prosperous and sustainable world order. Relying on substantial resources in all areas of human activity and pursuing a foreign policy that actively seeks to develop relations with the leading states, international organizations and associations in various parts of the world, we contribute to the development of a positive, well-balanced and unifying international agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russian Federation stands at the forefront of preventing the spread of nuclear weapons. Along with other like-minded partners, we are trying to move the world towards disarmament, primarily nuclear, and the development of broad international cooperation in the peaceful use of atomic energy. Russia has made an unprecedented contribution to the progress towards a nuclear-free world by cutting down its nuclear capacity by 85% over the last 30 years. Another important issue we are working is the prevention of arms race in outer space and thus exclusion of outer space from turning into a new arena of military confrontation. Hence, Russia, China, and Pakistan, together with many other states, are actively promoting respective negotiations and the conclusion of an international legally binding instrument on prevention of the placement of weapons in outer space. This is particularly the issue where we enjoy very important support from the state of Pakistan. We are also working hard to counter the rise of global terrorism and extremism. We believe that creation of the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism a year ago was a very good and timely step in this direction. And the appointment of Mr. Vladimir Voronkov, who is very experienced diplomat, very mature diplomat, it was a recognition of significant contribution of our country to the cause of fighting the terrorist threat. Moreover, we think the challenges of terrorism and narcotics are closely interconnected. First of all, due to the fact that many terrorist organizations around the world are involved in drug trafficking. In this regard, we fully support the activity of the United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs, and we consider it a key format for international anti-drug cooperation. I would like to highlight also Russia's principal position on the unacceptability of legalizing narcotics. Here is also the area where we enjoy very good understanding with Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia pursues mutually beneficial policy in the region aimed at cooperation with Central and South Asian countries, as well as China, in dealing with the tasks of their further social and economic, cultural and humanitarian development, ensuring their stability and security, including in the light of the enhanced military partnership and increased scientific and technical potential. We have been working together with our Chinese partners to boost Eurasian integration process. Much has been done to implement the joint declaration on cooperation in coordinating the development of the Eurasian Economic Union with One Belt, One Road initiative by Russian and Chinese leaders. Its main purpose is to align the two initiatives of Moscow and Beijing. And this will be a major step towards developing an open, transparent and comprehensive Eurasian partnership. We do not set the Eurasian Economic Union rivaling other integration bodies. We are ready to work on harmonizing various organizations. A common movement towards integrating the integration organizations and coupling major additional and transnational projects opens the way to broad new mutually advantageous opportunities. In this context, the Russian-Chinese agreement on aligning the European and the Eurasian integration projects and China's One Belt, One Road concept, and Vladimir Putin's initiative to create a broad partnership with Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, ASEAN, they are in line with our goal to develop an open, transparent and comprehensive Eurasian partnership. In the regions of South, and by the way, Central Asia as well, and the Far East also, we find it imperative to build a universally comprehensive, inclusive and transparent architecture of indivisible and reliable security and sustainable growth based on the rule of international law, non-use of force or threat of force, respect for territorial integrity, national sovereignty, and independence of countries, open, equal, and mutually beneficial cooperation. In this regard, the role of regional associations, such as, first of all, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is increasing. The SCO is an international organization, the creation of which was announced in 2001 in Shanghai, hence is the name of the organization, by Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. A historical meeting of the heads of State Council of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which was held on June 8-9, 2017 in Astana, where the status of a full member of the organization was granted to Islamic Republic of Pakistan and Republic of India. We are proud that the process of Pakistan and India joining the organizations as full-fledged members has been initiated under Russian chairmanship in the SCO. Such efforts started at a summit in the Russian city of Ufa in 2015 and was completed during SCO summit in Tashkent in June 2016 when memoranda on obligations of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the Republic of India for obtaining the status of member states were signed. Hence, the SCO transformed from a group of 6 to a group of 8, making it one of the largest regional associations. The cumulative territory of SCO member states accounts for approximately 45% of population and 25% of landmass of our planet, as well as 25% of the world GDP. Moreover, the SCO counts, besides members, counts for observer states, that is Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran, and Mongolia. The SCO has 6 dialogue partners, that is Azerbaijan, Armenia, Cambodia, Nepal, Turkey, and Sri Lanka. Thus, the SCO had asserted itself as a unique, influential, and authoritative regional organization, which potential had grown remarkably following the accession of India and Pakistan. According to the Secretary General of the organization, it has successfully faced the trials of time, and its principles became familiar and understandable to millions of people in the world. As President Putin said, I quote, as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization expands its area of operation and its membership through the participation of the powerful countries like India and Pakistan, it turns into a very powerful international association that commands respect and is relevant both in the region and worldwide as well. Proceeding from the Shanghai spirit, the SCO pursues its internal policy based on the principles of mutual trust, mutual benefit, equality, mutual consultations, respect for cultural diversity, and the desire for common development. Main effective cooperation, politics, trade, economy, research, technology, culture, and education, energy, transport, tourism, and many, many others. So a little bit maybe more about Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, which as far as I know that in Pakistan one of the greatest problems, it is the issue of energy sufficiency. So there is such a body in SCO, it is called Energy Club. It is functioning since 2014 within the framework of the SCO. It is a place for discussing energy strategies of SCO member states with a goal of optimization and coming up with ways to improve energy security. The club consists of representatives of government agencies, big businesses, and think tanks working in the sphere of energy issues. There are 2 permanent bodies in the organizations, that is SCO Secretariat, which is based in Beijing, and Executive Committee of the Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, based in Tashkent. The SCO Secretary General and Director of the Executive Committee of RATS are appointed by the Council of Heads of State for a term of 3 years. And these posts are held respectively by Mr. Rashid Alimov from Tajikistan and Evgeny Sisolev from Russian Federation. Thanks to the efforts of RATS in the period of 2013-2017, more than 600 terrorist acts have been prevented. 500 terrorist training camps eliminated. More than 2,000 members of terrorist organizations apprehended. Thousands of improvised devices and explosive substances secured, 10,000 illegal firearms, as well as 1 million units of ammunition. The Russian Federation believes that it is imperative to continue increasing the potential of RATS, enhance cooperation between intelligence agencies within the framework of the United Nations and other international organizations. Cooperation among the member states against terrorism, separatism, and extremism is the main focus of this permanent body of the SCO, which is right now concentrating on combating Daesh. We also find it necessary to prioritize prevention of the usage of internet for promoting terrorist, separatist, and extremist agenda. In this regard, it's worth noting the rising level of professionalism of participants of the joint anti-terrorist exercises of SCO member states. Such exercises bring a lot of experience in practical implementation of the SCO legal base while organizing joint events in the sphere of combating cyber terrorism, including identification of extremist content, gathering electronic evidence, carrying out technical investigations, neutralizing international terrorist organizations, and etc. But at the same time, I would like to bring to your kind attention the fact that SCO is not a military organization. Military cooperation within the organization is limited by counter-terrorism matters. The necessity of such cooperation is obvious. The terrorist threat in the SCO region has been increasing as of late. For the member states of the organization, the main source of terrorist activity stems from Afghanistan, where the military, political, and economic situation continues, unfortunately, to deteriorate, posing a threat to neighboring countries. The Russian Federation pays special attention to the fact that there has been an increase in the activity of Daesh in Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's worth noting that soon after Pakistan became a full-fledged member of the SCO, the organization recommenced the work after a multi-year intermission, I think 7 or 9 years, something like this, of the SCO Afghanistan contact group. Its latest session took place this year in May 28th in Medellin. This mechanism's purpose is to promote the stabilization of the situation in Afghanistan and creating suitable conditions for stable development of the country, as well as containing all the threats currently emanating from there. In general, the joining of Pakistan to SCO considerably expands the organization's border with Afghanistan, allowing it to strengthen its role in the settlement of the Afghan conflict. The significance of Pakistan for the peaceful settlement in Afghanistan is determined by its role in regional politics, its influence in Muslim world, and its geostrategic position. Our countries face similar challenges and threats to national security. Russia has supported and will support counterterrorism efforts of our Pakistani partners, and we highly estimate and praise the outcome of the operations of Zarb-e-Azm and Radul Fasad, which were launched by the Pakistani government and military. Russia stands for close coordination of our country's efforts in Afghanistan. Instability in Afghanistan concerns both our countries, and naturally, we are interested in peaceful, prosperous, and democratic Afghanistan, free from terrorism and drug-related crime. The SCO represents a very easy and natural form of facilitating process aimed towards Afghan settlement, mainly because the organization includes Afghanistan and all its neighbors as either members or observers. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the founding goals of SCO is to uphold peace efforts, safety and stability in the region. A step in the right direction were the joint SCO military exercises, which is called Peace Mission 2018, where for the first time Pakistani and Indian military took part. It was held in September this year in Russia in the training area of Chabarpul. It's near the geographical frontier between Asia and Europe, near Urals. Another key goal is developing mutually beneficial economic ties between our countries. Trade and investment are picking up pace while we facilitate access of products and services, improve custom regulations, eliminate excess administrative barriers, launch joint projects in the energy sector as well as in the sphere of transport and agriculture. This October, the fourth Small Business Forum of the regions of SCO and BRICS countries took place in the city of Ufa. it's Russia. The forum was first held in 2015 within the framework of the SCO Summit and BRICS Summit held in parallel with it, and established as well itself as a platform for dialogue between the government and small business in the countries of the two associations. Over 4-year history, the event was attended by over 4,200 participants from 25 countries and 63 regions of Russia. 18 cooperation agreements were signed, over 800 meetings were held between businessmen of both countries. The forum includes separate sections on conditions for development and supporting small business in the regions of SCO and BRICS, barrier-free cooperation, financial, legal and infrastructural support for small business, strengthening the position of export-oriented enterprises. That's like logistics, certifications, custom product procedures. Issues of tourism development, visa transfer control were brought up for discussions. Participants touched upon the development of franchising, youth entrepreneurship, new digital technologies and others. Special attention was paid to familiarize with the most successful projects of Russian and foreign small business enterprises. In the framework of the practical session, the participants reviewed the main mistakes of entrepreneurs, mechanisms for attracting investments, and ways to solve problems that hinder business development. So, also within the forum there was an international track, which was called the Business Without Borders, a presentation platform for delegations and individual participants. Thanks to this initiative, small businesses will be able to quickly find partners interested in cooperation, build interaction with decision makers, negotiate and conclude promising contracts. Ladies and gentlemen, the SCO is also a useful platform for intensifying a political dialogue at the highest level to discuss the most important issue of Russian-Pakistani relations. Probably you know that President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, met former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Ufa in July 2015, and on the sidelines of the similar summit in Astana on June 9, 2017. The chairman of the government of the Russian Federation, Mr. Dmitry Medvedev, met the next Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shahid Haqqan Abbasi, on the sidelines of the meeting of the SCO Heads of Government Council in Sochi in November-December last year. And finally, on 5th of November this year, on the sidelines of Expo exhibition in Shanghai, Mr. Medvedev, Prime Minister, met Prime Minister Imran Khan. I think this is a good start for the development of personal relations between our leaders as well. The cooperation between Russia and Pakistan in the spheres of security and defense is also developing dynamically. Some examples. The joint Pakistani tactical exercises Friendship 2016 were held in the mountains area in the special training center in Cherat in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in September-October 2016. It was the very first land exercise of the armed forces of both Russia and Pakistan. The second exercise, Friendship 2017, were carried out in Russia, in Karachaevo-Cherkessia, and third one, they took place this autumn here in Pakistan. It were concluded just a few weeks ago. The of Karachi, the latest example, it was a visit of Severomorsk, which participated in exercises together with Pakistani Marines. And it was dedicated to the holding of the Ideas exhibition here, which is unfortunately one of the most important. The existing mechanism of our bilateral interaction in the trade and economic sphere proved to be effective and efficient. There are the Russia-Pakistan Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation, and its two joint working groups on energy and on trade and investment. Such contacts only grow in frequency and efficiency in terms of facilitating economic and humanitarian exchange. I should say that this year we faced quite a considerable growth in the volume of our trade turnover. For the first 9 months of the year, this volume reached the level of $625 billion, which is considerably more than during previous years annually. So I'm sure, and it's evident already, that this is in our trade figures. But of course, my dream is to see when trade between our countries, between Russia and Pakistan, finally reaches the plank of $1 billion. Now, I don't know, maybe it will be something between 800 and 900 millions. But it will be a record anyway. The priorities of Pakistan's new government foreign policy are regional reconciliation and economic integrations. With so many advantages that SCO can give it to members, enhancement of economic ties with neighboring countries is certain to be of special interest to Islamabad that faces the challenges of a wide current account deficit. There are already specific steps being taken in the framework of SCO towards increasing economic regional integration for Pakistan, and one of practical outcomes is the meeting of the Council of the Heads of Government, Prime Minister Dushanbe, when we saw the accession of Pakistani Habib Bank Limited to the Interbank Consortium of SCO member states. It's a very important thing because one of the obstacles which lags the development, which made an obstacle in the way of the development of our economic cooperation, is the lack of direct interbanking communication. That is the thing. In this regard, it's worth mentioning that during the last 2 years, Russia and Pakistan have been successfully inclining other member states' organizations to create an SCO Bank of Development and Fund of Development. We also highly value Pakistan's participation in the first meeting of the heads of regions of the SCO, which was held in December, very recently, in the city of Chelyabinsk. Pakistan was represented by Chief Minister Baluchistan Jam Kamal Khan. Also promising is the participation of Pakistan in the project of the SCO University. Some other interesting initiatives have been voiced by Pakistan as well, including establishing of Research and Development Fund, which would bolster the cooperation of member states in the field of research and development. All in all, we welcome the readiness of the Pakistani side to get involved without delay in the inner workings of the organizations, actively participating in all mechanisms operating under its auspices for the sake of the regional security and stability, developing economic cooperation, cultural and humanitarian ties. On our part, the Russian Federation is ready to offer support to Pakistan in the matters of bringing peace and prosperity to the region of South Asia. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Excellency will take questions.
Various examples where the situation was attempts to settle the situation. Some military forms, like that the presence of American contingents and international contingents lasts from 2001. What we see is quite evident. It's quite natural. There is no alternative to peaceful option, and we are working to this direction. We are, should say, not part of Afghanistan solution. We presume that this should be done on the basis which is already adopted, that Afghanistan solution is Afghan-led and Afghan-owned. And together with our participants is to make our best to launch an inter-Afghan dialogue between representatives of Kabul government and representatives of Taliban. And we are working hard in this direction. Probably you heard about Moscow format, which was established about 2 years ago by 3 countries, that's Russia, Pakistan, and China. Later we invited other member states to participate there. Now the process is covering Iran as well, India, Central Asian countries. And the meeting of this forum was held in Moscow recently. For the first time, the representatives of the United States of America participated in this meeting. It's so far in the capacity of observer, but hopefully later they become more active participants. And what is also notable that for the first time, representatives of Kabul, the delegation consisted of several deputies to the chairman of High Peace Council and again ambassador in Moscow, and representative headed by Mr. Alexey from Qatar Political. They officially sat together in one table. And of course this was not a breakthrough, but still it is a considerable step forward on the way of towards peaceful reconciliation in Afghanistan. As you know, this meeting was followed by ministerial in Geneva, and it was announced in the press that today is 14th, that tomorrow there is supposed, I hope it will take place, the ministerial meeting of trilateral character, that is between Afghanistan, China, and Pakistan, for which it was announced that Minister Qureshi will go. Of course, this will also be a contribution towards starting dialogue between two Afghanistans. Thank you. Beyond the SCO, as I mentioned, our countries participate in this format in Afghanistan, which are also helpful just to cooperate, to enhance cooperation between the two countries. At the same time, we realize that the contradictions between two countries, they are deep, they are laid down in history. So the reconciliation, not reconciliation, but the process of improvement of atmosphere, the general environment of these relations, it will take time. It will take time, but we still hope for the future, for the better future. And you know, we highly appreciate such steps made by Pakistan as recent opening of Kartarpur corridor. This is, I think, one of the confidence-building measures which, after all, they will work. They will work definitely. Thank you. The sources of terrorism in Afghanistan. You know, there are many sources, really many sources. You know probably that there was an Islamic State which was formed in Syria and Iraq, and as a result of anti-terrorist operations there, a considerable number of Daesh fighters, they moved to Afghanistan. It's well, actually 2 locations. First it is in the north. They are mostly the citizens of countries neighboring Afghanistan, unfortunately Russian Federation included. There are terrorists from our country as well, as I mentioned. The second part is that terrorists from Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan, which were pushed to Afghanistan, they, at least part of them, went under the umbrella of Daesh. As for the sources, you know, I don't know whether it is strange or not, but these Daesh people, they do not suffer any problems with financing. Of course, there are traditional resources like drug trafficking, when they just extract money, extract resources from illegal drug production and trafficking, using them for their financing. There is also such sources various fundamentalist funds in the various countries, like, for example, Persian Gulf countries. I'm not meaning the governmental support, but I mean the support of these private funds. They also make some contribution in the terrorist threat. So there is quite a variety of sources. And, unfortunately, we should recognize that sometimes some terrorist structures, parallel structures, which terrorists organize in the zone of their activities, to our great regret, sometimes they enjoy more respect than the similar governmental structures. So we cannot write down the support of local population as well. This is the fact. And not everywhere, but in certain places definitely exists. So this is about sources. Then some, I don't know, helpers or facilitators, because we received reports from various sources of gun issued, especially in the north, there's some unidentified helicopters carrying terrorists from one place to another. Then for Moscow format, of course, it's not completed. What was made, it was a really step in the right direction. Of course, we can, we do not have magic balls. We cannot foresee how much time in particular concretely will be needed to start these negotiations. Maybe a few months, maybe more. That depends on many factors. But these Taliban representatives from Qatar office, it was actually checked, and they really represent, if not the whole Taliban movement, which is quite diverse, but Taliban leadership, that's for sure. So they were necessary. They were, so to speak, people with, I should say, necessary credentials. As for Qatar-Pur corridor, this is a very significant event to my mind. It is not, maybe notable in some narrow practical terms, but this is very important spiritually for the wide range of people, first of all in India, who can see that Pakistan is opening, Pakistan is trying to create favorable conditions, and I think sooner or later this will definitely work, because I know that some people, they are trying to diminish the significance of this Karakhapur opening, but I think this is a very significant event in terms of creation a good neighborly atmosphere between two states. Thank you. There are two so far directions. First of all, it is on working with the conditions of the OOT contract. And second one is ecological dimension. In the month of November, there were ecological hearings in Islamabad. I think in January, February, there will be ecological hearings on the project, in ecological implications in Karachi. That is for the first project. The sum is roughly $2 billion. Second one, it is project of shelf pipeline. It is supposed to start from Iran, to go by sea, by shelf to India, with a branch to Pakistan, to Karachi. It's also on the stage of signing various memorandums, so it's progressing. We should fix it. And then there were some proposals on refurbishing Kutubu-Savarbar energy power stations. And what we are also working on, that is a project of construction of oil refinery in the city of Pohang in Hyperpokhtuvkva. There were some also negotiations concerning some geological exploration issues last year, this year. Rosgeology came. There is also one very good project, our company and Pakistani company, they are establishing a joint venture in the area of medicines production. Other projects may be lesser in size, like import of automobiles. And of course, as for trade, I already mentioned it. If you are interested, I have the data. What I can say that we most got the leading articles for our export here. It is the freshest foundation. So, for example, nearly $70 billion in black metals and what is done from them. Then flying devices like helicopters. Then also quite a significant part. It is mineral fuel, oil. Then some eateries like vegetables. As for our import, it's also fruits, nuts. Then, of course, it's fabrics and goods which are made from fabrics. It's made in total. It's about $85 million. But it's data only for 9 months. 9 months, of course, in yearly dimension, hopefully it will be much more. So that's for our priorities in the economic sphere. We launched the Astana format for the normalization of situation in Syria. And what is now going on when the military issues, they are now close to the solution. We are now concentrating on economic restoration of this country. You know, as a result of civil war, the economic is shattered, so a lot of resources are needed to restore it. We are trying to do our best to help them with resources, with our experience. So does Iran and Turkey. Hopefully the international community will also join this process. As to take more, wider dimension, of course, we are worried about continuing conflict in Yemen, worried about tension between certain Arab states and Qatar, which also is not helpful for a stable environment in the Middle East. Also, we know that the situation in the Middle East, in Yemen, it will also require the big volumes of economic resources to be injected there, but we also strongly hope for just speedier completion of speedier finalization of the conflict there. And as far as I know, the process of peaceful negotiation has also started between government and Shias in Yemen, and hopefully it will bring necessary results. As for South Asia, the situation, you know, there are many conflict points here. We already discussed Afghanistan, we already discussed Pakistan-Indian relations. There is also such point as relations between Bangladesh and Myanmar concerning the Rohingya issue, which also needed a settlement, unfortunately, despite various efforts. We cannot see the future completion of this process. But, you know, what is needed is work and goodwill, just to take in 2 words. Work and goodwill, because, each of these notions, they cover quite a wide spectrum of efforts. Thank you. Our relations with India, they have very deep historical roots, and they were very much manifested. They are called especially privileged relations. and India was and is our leading partner in the region. As for relations with Pakistan, they have its own value for us, their own value, and we are trying to develop it dynamically as well. And we see a lot of prospects in development of the relations with Pakistan. As for settlement in the Icelandic question, before you are not asked to do so, well, why should you do so? I mean the mediation.
Last question to Professor Garg.
Well, Madam, Your Excellency, I have no question.
For the way they choose to exercise their business interests, this depends on them from both sides, from Russian businessmen and from Pakistani businessmen. They are to choose, we cannot force them to do so and so. As for the state of the Russian economy, we are in the state of stabilization. You know that there were sanctions introduced, and we managed to reconstruct our economy such a way that we reached more degree of self-sufficiency in many respects. For example, we are not depending on foreign companies in various fields, like in area of agriculture, in area of computers, etc. Secondly, as for the our economic growth, it is now pushed at the moderate level. It is about 1.52% annually, but there are good signs, especially in the latest month, that the more dynamics was achieved by our industrial sector. Sometimes they demonstrate very good figures, like in certain months, if we put it into the annual categories, it is about even 4 or 5%. Thank you.
Thank you. Now wrap up this session, and thank His Excellency for this very extensive discourse on various issues pertaining to this region. From his presentation, it seems that we can achieve a great deal through SCO, since there seems to be very little likelihood in the near future of achieving much through SAARC. So we have to look at it through the lens through which you have looked at it. I take your point, Excellency, and I'm sure many of the audience here also take your point, that unless a country is asked to mediate in issues between two of its neighbors or two other countries, it cannot really force itself or take the initiative. But surely some attention can be paid to the terrible situation in Jammu and Kashmir with respect to so much repression, so much suppression, so much brutality. It seems that the world has decided just to look away from that brutality, although small incidents in other parts of the country create a hue and cry. So with this wish that I hope, and I'm sure my compatriots here also hope, that your great country can at least turn its attention to somehow mitigate the problems and the suffering of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much for coming. I want to give you this journal, which, as I say on every occasion, we have been taking out since 1948 without a break. And I hope indeed that this will not be the last time you come, and that you will come again. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.